After my daughter's shocking words, I discovered incredible truths that changed our lives forever. The warm, golden glow of the kitchen light painted the walls as Jake leaned over the worn, wooden table. He smiled at Lily, who spun her spaghetti on her fork, a feast of cheerful banter filling their small space. This Tuesday, like every Tuesday, was sacred, a night just for the two of them. They shared laughter, dreams, and stories, embracing the small joys of life. Yet tonight, a shift lurked just beneath the surface of their usual comfort. With drops of sauce on her chin and a sparkle in her eye, Lily suddenly quieted, her lively spirit dimming like the flicker of a candle. Jake noticed the change, and his heart began to race. She looked at him, but her gaze held a depth of hurt he hadn't seen before. "Dad," she whispered, her voice quivering. "At school people look right past me. They don't see me." The air thickened, heavy with her unspoken pain. Panic clenched Jake's chest. The warmth of their dinner turned cold as dread settled in. He was taken aback. Had his endless hours at the shop, the long nights spent twisting wrenches and oiling engines, built a wall around them instead of a solid foundation? His heart raced, guilt gnawing at him. He met Lily's shimmering eyes, bright with unspent tears. "Sweetheart, what do you mean?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. She continued to speak, revealing how her classmates flaunted their designer clothes and expensive toys, dismissing her as if she were invisible. Each word pierced Jake with razor-sharp clarity. He felt caught in a storm of his own making, realizing he had been so focused on work that he neglected the emotional storms brewing in Lily's heart. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Jake sat back, the weight of her honesty flooding over him. Memories of his childhood flashed by, days spent playing ball and sharing dreams with friends from all walks of life. He had wished to provide Lily with a life free from struggles, but it seemed those very efforts had contributed to a chasm between them and the world outside their door. As days turned to weeks, that initial anguish morphed into a stubborn fire within him. The impending town hall meeting focused on social justice felt like a battlefield, one that Jake was hesitant to step onto. But with every whispered truth from Lily echoing in his heart, "We can make a difference," he found himself drawn to the fight. The night before the meeting, strewn under the flickering light, he stood in their small living room, pacing back and forth. Lily was asleep, her peaceful face both a balm and a burden to his soul. Could he really change their community? Would it matter? At the meeting, as neighbors' clashed voices and opinions echoed through the room, Jake felt the weight of hope and fear swirl within him again. And then it happened. He grasped the microphone, ready to speak, but just as he began, an unexpected interruption shattered the atmosphere, leaving the crowd in stunned silence. What could this mean for him, for Lily, and for the dream of equality they so desperately pursued? Jake inhaled deeply, ready to face not just his community, but his own doubts, setting the stage for a fight that might change everything. Jake's fingers tightened around the microphone as the silence hung heavily in the air. The interruption had come from a figure stumbling through the back of the gym, a disheveled man in a tattered coat. Whispers rippled through the crowd, a mix of curiosity and concern. Jake took a step back, uncertainty clouding his mind, but something about the man's presence ignited a flicker of courage inside him. "Please," the man said, his voice shaky yet determined. "I need to speak." Every eye in the room pivoted towards him, including Jake's. It was a true moment of desperation, like a faint light breaking through a storm cloud. The man cleared his throat and continued. "I was just like your daughter, once invisible." Jake's heart raced as he instinctively glanced at Lily's empty seat. Would she understand the gravity of this moment through the eyes of a stranger? The man carried on, sharing a raw account of his own childhood, of being overlooked, of the quiet struggles that had led him to where he was today. The weight of his words sunk deep into Jake, echoing Lily's pain and forging a connection in that fleeting moment. Life isn't about the things you wear or the toys you possess, the man stated, locking eyes with various members of the audience. It's about the people who see you, hear you, and lift you up. Sensing the shift in energy, Jake realized this was not just the man's story but a collective experience. Every face in that room carried a portion of it. He thought of Lily and others like her children yearning for recognition and support. The voices in the audience began to shift from skepticism to empathy, murmurs of agreement growing louder with each heartfelt word spoken by the man. Feeling the urgency surging through him, Jake stepped forward once more, driven by the fire of inspiration. "You're right," he called out through the sea of voices, reclaiming the moment. "We can't just stand by and watch our kids suffer. We need to change this, to make sure everyone feels seen." The inclined heads of neighbors began to nod. Minutes stretched into discussions filled with ideas and plans. They brainstormed ways to create community programs that fostered connection among children, ways to ensure every kid felt included and valued. In that charged atmosphere, Jake felt hope blooming within him like spring flowers breaking through winter's frost. After the meeting, as the crowd dispersed, Jake caught sight of the man, his figure now enveloped in a supportive group of neighbors eager to hear more. Jake hurried over, grateful for the way his heart swelled with a semblance of belonging. He thanked the man, who only smiled, revealing a trace of gratitude in return. When Jake returned home, he found Lily waiting up for him, her big brown eyes wide with curiosity. "Did you talk about what we discussed?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper filled with a mingling of hope and apprehension. Jake sank down beside her, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. "Yes, and it was powerful. People want to make a change. But it starts with us, sweetheart. Are you ready to help?" Lily beamed, a joyful glimmer igniting her face. "Absolutely." But as they shared their plans for the future and the change they wished to inspire, Jake felt a knot tighten in his stomach. What if their efforts weren't enough? A sense of determination washed over him, but doubt lingered like a shadow. How could they sustain this momentum? How would they combat the unseen forces entrenched in the community that perpetuated feelings of exclusion? "Tomorrow is just the beginning, Lily," he said, holding her tightly as they faced the uncertainty ahead together. "But I need you to promise me something. Don't keep silent when things get tough. Let us be a voice, not just for us, but for every kid who feels invisible." "And we will," she declared, her enthusiasm infectious. Yet, beyond her optimism, Jake sensed the weight of their mission, his daughter's excitement juxtaposing the tremors of anxiety within him. As the sun began to rise on a new day, they braced for what lay ahead, unaware of the challenges and triumphs that awaited. Little did they know that the voices they aimed to uplift would soon lead them to confront untold truths about their community and about themselves. Jake held Lily close, whispering a promise to face every doubt together. But in the quiet, a question hung in the air: could they truly be the catalysts for change that they dreamed of being? The morning light spilled through the window, illuminating the small kitchen where Jake and Lily sat. Lily was busy sketching, her pencil moving swiftly across the paper as if it had a heartbeat of its own. Jake watched her, feeling a swell of pride mixed with anxiety. How could he protect that light within her? "Dad," Lily said, glancing up with an intense focus that was almost unsettling. "What if we make a poster for our idea? Like, something big to show everyone what we're trying to do?" The suggestion struck Jake like a bolt of lightning. "That's a fantastic idea. We should illustrate all the things that matter: friends, empathy, laughter. We need the whole community to see where we stand." Lily's face lit up. "And we can ask kids at school for help. They might have ideas, too." "Yes. We can gather everyone's voice, just like the man in the gym said." "It's about togetherness and being seen," Jake replied, his own excitement building at the thought of being part of something larger than himself. They gathered supplies from around the household: magazines, markers, and poster boards. Jake felt a shift in his gut. They were building. Creating. Each moment heightened his hope, even as his fears tugged at the edges of his mind. Later, in her bedroom, they spread everything out across the floor. Magazines crinkled underfoot as images of smiling faces and dynamic scenes of friendship caught their eyes. "Look at this," said Lily, holding up a photo of a diverse group of children laughing together. "This could work." Jake nodded. "That's perfect. It shows what we want, everyone included." Time passed in a flurry of creativity. They cut, pasted, and decorated their poster until it was a vibrant tapestry of love and unity. As they worked, Jake shared stories of his own childhood, moments of feeling left out that resonated with Lily, her understanding deepening. She was absorbing every word, and with every story, Jake felt the purpose of their mission grow. "Dad, why do you think it's hard for people to connect?" she suddenly asked, pausing to look him straight in the eye. Jake sighed. "I think sometimes people are afraid of being vulnerable. It's scary to let others see the real you." Lily's brow furrowed in thought. "But if we show them that it's okay, they might open up too." Her insight struck him hard. It was the spark they needed. "That's right. We can change the way people think. We can show them how to connect and care." As night fell, they finished up their work with proud smiles and tired bodies. They would display the poster at a local school event the next day. "This is going to be amazing, Lily," Jake said, pulling her into a tight hug. But as the excitement filled the room, Jake felt a nagging concern blossom in his chest. What would happen when the poster was up? Would the kids and parents react positively, or would they ridicule it? His heart raced at the thought of criticism. Jake made his way to bed, wrestling with his thoughts. The world outside was quiet, but his mind was a whirlwind. What if all their efforts fell flat? As he lay there, a sudden knock on his door drew him from his thoughts. It was Lily, her eyes filled with a mixture of determination and uncertainty. "Dad, what if we fail?" He swallowed hard, caught between reassurance and the reality of his own worries. "Then we learn and try again. It's the effort that counts, Lily. Just like we talked about being a voice." She nodded, but he could see the flicker of doubt still present. As she turned back to her room, Jake felt a spark ignite within him. He realized that the struggles they faced together were as important as the victories. Tomorrow wasn't just about the poster, it was about showing up for each other, confronting fears, and carving a path toward connection. Jake sighed, his heart a tangled mix of anxiety and resolve. But in the silence of that night, as he drifted into restless sleep, a thought crossed his mind, lingering like an uninvited guest. Were they truly prepared for the pushback that could come once they shared their message with the world? The sun rose the next morning with an energy that felt almost electric. Jake woke up, a mix of anticipation and dread swirling in his belly. He glanced at the clock. Too early for school and too late to turn back. Lily would be up soon. They had spent hours on their poster, and now it was time to see if it would have the impact they hoped for. As he stumbled into the kitchen, the aroma of coffee hit him like a comforting embrace. It brought forth memories of countless mornings when he sat sipping from his favorite mug, pondering life's uncertainties. Today felt different. Today, he wasn't just a spectator, he was part of something real. "Dad, I'm ready." Lily's voice broke through his musings. She bounded into the kitchen, the poster tucked under her arm like a treasured secret. Her enthusiasm lit up the room. It was contagious. "Okay. Let's grab the car. The sooner we get there, the sooner we can spread our message." Jake tried to match her excitement, even though his heart pounded with worries that made his palms sweat. They drove in silence, but it wasn't an awkward one. Jake stole glances at Lily as she chatted about her classmates who might contribute ideas. Every word she spoke felt like a tiny light, illuminating the fear lurking in him. Once they arrived at the school, a flurry of activities surrounded them. Kids dashed past, their laughter and chatter filling the air. Jake momentarily relaxed. This was a place of joy. But then he spotted a group of kids standing to the side. Their faces were familiar, and so were their tendencies to find humor in the unexpected. The sight of them made Jake's heart race. What would they think about the poster? Would they laugh? He distracted himself by focusing on Lily, who now stood poised and ready, her expression set with determination. "Let us do this, Dad," she exclaimed, clutching the poster tighter. "Okay, just remember," he said, kneeling down to look her in the eye, "no matter what happens, we did this together. That's what matters." Lily nodded, her significance radiating strength. Together they walked toward the gathering crowd. As the students began to assemble, Jake's worries churned. He could see the man from the gym talking animatedly with a group of parents, and somehow, in that moment, he felt a connection emerge. It was as if they were all sharing the same breath, the anticipation, the fear, and the hope. When it was time to present, Jake felt a lump in his throat. Lily stepped forward, her voice crystal clear. "We made a poster to show our message," she announced. There was a hush before the laughter began, light and playful, as kids began to read their words and see the images depicting unity and kindness, but then everything shifted. The laughter turned into murmurs of confusion. Some children started to giggle in that familiar way, pointing at specific images. Jake clenched his jaw, the laughter like stones in his stomach. "Why would you choose that picture?" one boy yelled, bringing more chuckles from the crowd. Jake's heart sank. Panic surged. He caught Lily looking at him, her confident expression faltering just a little. "Dad," she whispered, her voice barely audible above the noise. He knelt beside her, squeezing her hand tightly. "We can't control how they react. Just focus on what we wanted to say," he replied, determined to hold back the tide of disappointment threatening to wash over them. "You've done something amazing." But all at once, the unexpected happened. A girl stepped forward, brows knitted together with genuine concern, her voice cutting through the laughter. "Wait. We need this. It's important that we talk about kindness." Silence fell across the crowd. Jake's heart fluttered. Was it possible that Lily's truth could find an echo in someone else? He watched as other kids began to nod in agreement, reshaping the atmosphere from laughter to contemplation. Now, it was time for Jake to share the story behind the poster. Would he step up and embrace the moment? Jake took a deep breath, the air thick with tension. All eyes were on him, waiting for something, anything that could anchor this moment. He could feel Lily's hand tremble in his grasp. It was now or never. Hi everyone," he started, his voice barely rising above a whisper. Sweat trickled down his back, reminding him of all the times he shared difficult truths with his daughter. "I think we all know why we're here today. It's about kindness." He glanced at Lily, who offered him a small nod of encouragement. "Last night, as we were working on this poster, Lily shared a story with me. She told me about something that happened at school last week, something that made her feel sad." Jake looked into the crowd, searching for any hint of the shared understanding he desperately wanted. She noticed a classmate sitting alone during lunch. Lily's eyes widened, and surprise flickered across the faces of her classmates. Jake could see their curious glances switching between him and Lily, their laughter now replaced by an urge to listen. This student, she was new, and didn't he know anyone yet? Instead of just pretending to be busy, Lily decided to go over and invite her to join them. They ended up talking and laughing, and it made Lily feel good to include her. Jake paused, the weight of vulnerability thick in the air. That's what this poster is about. It's not just about nice words and pretty pictures. It's about doing something, taking a moment to make someone feel seen. He scanned the crowd, hoping his words would ignite something inside each of them. Faces softened, laughter faded, and soon he saw heads nodding in agreement. Kindness is a choice we get to make every day. But it's not always easy, he continued, feeling the momentum building. Sometimes people laugh or make fun when they don't understand. But when it comes down to it, we're all just trying to find where we fit in, right? Lily squeezed his hand harder, and he could sense a flicker of belief shining between them. The tide was turning. So, let us choose kindness. Let us reach out and make someone feel like they belong. Because everyone deserves a place to feel safe, especially in schools like ours. A murmur rippled through the crowd, morphing into a chorus of voices. Some were sharing stories. Others were talking about ways they could show kindness. Jake's heart raced. This was it. Encouraging conversations sparked alongside smiles of encouragement. The laughter began to blossom but felt different now, full of promise, rather than disdain. Jake turned to Lily. Her face glowed, a radiant mix of pride and relief. He realized in that moment that they had not just shared a message, they had created a movement. As groups began discussing ways they could spread kindness, a deep sense of accomplishment surged within him. Yet, beneath that pride lurked a new unease. What if this moment faded as quickly as it had blossomed? Would they still remember what they learned? Would today truly spark change, or simply be a fleeting conversation lost in the chaos of school life? Suddenly, he spotted the boy who had initially mocked the poster. Instead of retreating, he had stepped forward, his brow furrowed in thought. What if we needed to do more? He spoke up, breaking the hopeful chatter. What if we made it a challenge? Kindness challenges for a whole month? Shockwaves of excitement rippled through the kids. Jake exchanged glances with Lily. They both felt a spark ignite among their peers, an idea taking root. And maybe we could even organize a celebration, Lily suggested boldly, her confidence soaring again like a bright kite in wind. Let us show everyone what kindness can do. Jake's heart swelled. This was bigger than either of them had imagined. Was it possible that today could truly change everything? As the kids rallied around Lily's idea, Jake felt a surge of hope flood his veins. Could one act of kindness ripple out into a wave of change? But the trail of uncertainty still lingered, and he couldn't shake the looming question in his mind. What obstacles would they face next? What kind of challenges lay ahead as they advocated for kindness? The energy in the room buzzed like a live wire, humming with excitement and anticipation. Jake watched as Lily and her classmates began to hash out ideas. Each suggestion carried a blend of laughter and earnestness, filling the school hall with newfound hope. It was exhilarating and a little overwhelming. I think we should have a kindness wall. A girl named Emma proposed, her voice rising above the chatter. We could hang up notes about the nice things we do. Yes, shouted another kid, Timmy. And we could each write our own kind messages and post them on the wall. Jake felt a thrill run through him. They were imagining, creating, and growing, each idea feeding off the last in a beautiful loop of inspiration. Still, anxiety prickled at the edges of his excitement. He knew kids could be fickle. Would they remain committed after the thrill wore off? As if sensing his doubt, Lily turned to him, her eyes wide with fervor. Dad, if we write kindness challenges, we can share them every week. We could post them online too, and others could join in. Imagine it spread to other schools. Her enthusiasm lit a fire in him, and Jake nodded, redirecting his own fears. That's a wonderful idea, Lily. It could start a whole movement. He smiled at her, the warmth inside him deepening. Suddenly, a voice piped up from the back. What if the school gives us some time to meet and work on this together? The girl who had suggested it looked hopeful. Like a group? Kindness club. Though Jake felt a twinge of concern over logistics, he couldn't dismiss their eagerness. Would the school support their dreams? He glanced around, seeing their hopeful faces radiating positivity. All right, if we all pitch in to present a proposal to the school, I believe we can make it happen. His voice swelled with determination. Why not put together a list of what we want to achieve, so we can approach them informed? Cheers erupted in the group, each kid buzzing with excitement over the prospect. As discussions raged on, Jake stepped back, letting them take the reins. He had been scared they would lose momentum, but here they were, forging ahead without him. Emotional relief washed over him. They were doing this together. And maybe, just maybe, they could inspire others beyond these walls. But as the joy wrapped around him, doubt still stalked his thoughts. Challenges awaited, and they wouldn't always be met with open arms. Would the established ways be shaken up by a group of kids demanding change? And what about those who thrived on ridicule? Would they silence these budding voices? Lily caught his glimmer of worry and caught his eye. "Dad, what's wrong? You look kind of worried." Her inquiry pulled him back to the present. "Nothing, sweetheart. I just know that good changes don't always come easy." Lily nodded, her brow slightly furrowed. "But isn't that what makes it worth fighting for?" Her words shot through him like arrows of truth. It was always about persistence, about hope gathering strength from adversity. As the day wound down and plans were laid out, Jake felt the bittersweet swirl of pride and uncertainty. A kindness challenge and a club were sprouting in tandem, but would it be enough? Later that night, as Jake tucked Lily into bed, he found himself staring at the poster they had created together. It seemed like merely a simple illustration, but it was so much more. "You really think it will work?" Lily asked softly, eyes shining in the dim light. "I do," he replied, even as a sliver of doubt lingered. "We just have to be ready for anything, even setbacks." He kissed her goodnight, the weight of hope and worry resting on his shoulders. Sitting in the quiet of their home, he couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was on the horizon. As he switched off the light and let his own weariness settle, a thought nagged at him. How deep could this ripple of kindness go? And what would happen when they faced the inevitable resistance? Would their little spark of change become a raging flame or extinguish before it really began? The unknown loomed large in his mind, casting long shadows over the bright possibilities ahead. The next morning, Jake awoke to the soft sound of Lily's laughter filtering through the house. She was chattering excitedly about her plans with her friends, her voice a melody of youthful enthusiasm. As he stumbled into the kitchen, the aroma of pancakes filled the air, and he couldn't help but smile. "Good morning, Dad." Lily beamed, her cheeks aglow as she hurriedly poured syrup over a stack of fluffy pancakes. The week ahead stretched before them like an uncharted map. "Morning, champ. What's on the agenda today?" he asked, ruffling her hair as he grabbed a plate. She beamed. "We're meeting after school to finalize our ideas for the Kindness Club." "Everyone is so pumped." Jake nodded, reflecting on how quickly this had all developed. Just a few days ago, they had been sitting on the idea, and now it was gaining momentum. He felt a surge of pride mixed with apprehension. "Just remember, keep pushing for your vision if things don't go smoothly." She gave him a determined nod, a little frown creeping into place. "If someone doesn't like it, do you think we should just stop?" The question hung in the air like a heavy cloud. Jake's heart sank. "Absolutely not, Lily. Change often meets resistance. But that only proves it's worth fighting for." Lily's eyes sparkled with resolve. "You're right. I won't let anyone stop me." Later, at school, the atmosphere in the art room was electric. The kids were bundled together, a whirlwind of energy, brainstorming furiously. Posters were being crafted, ideas were being exchanged, and laughter ricocheted off the walls. Each child fueled the other's wild spark. The mood was contagious, and Jake couldn't shake the hope blooming within him, but when the principal entered the room, the energy dipped. Mr. Anderson was a firm figure, a man whose presence demanded respect. He cleared his throat, and the room grew still. "I understand you all want to create a kindness club. While I appreciate your initiative, our schedule is very tight, and we need to prioritize existing clubs." The disappointment was palpable. Kids exchanged frowns and startled glances. Jake's heart dropped. He could see the flicker of uncertainty cross Lily's face. But before despair could take hold, Lily stood tall. "Mr. Anderson, we really believe in this. Kindness can change our school. We could even document the impact at the end of the year. Please don't dismiss us yet. Jake held his breath. This was the moment even small actions carried weight. The room held its breath, too, uncertainty twinkling in every pair of eyes. All right, how about this, Mr. Anderson said, his expression softening ever so slightly. Present me with a detailed proposal by next week. If I see enough support from the faculty and parents, we can reconsider your request. Jake could feel the lift of hope ripple through the room again. Lily's face lit up, bright as a sunbeam. Thank you, Mr. Anderson. We'll work really hard. As the principal left, sheer joy filled the air, igniting the spark among the kids once more. They were ready to fight for their dream. But Jake's mind whirled. The proposal, what if they faltered? What if they weren't heard? Lily's voice broke through his thoughts. Dad, can you help us write it? Of course, he replied, squeezing her shoulder, pride swelling in his chest. Let us outline everything you envision. That evening, at their dining table, they spread papers and colored markers. As Lily spoke passionately about each idea, Jake listened, heart full of admiration. Her vision wasn't just about notes on a wall, it was about connections, community, and courage, but a nagging fear crept in. What if they faced skepticism? Would their little pile of dreams survive the storm of doubt? Jake spent the night oscillating between hope and fear, wondering if the kids would stand strong against adversity. As he tucked Lily in, another thought struck him. What if the fight for kindness somehow revealed deeper truths about themselves, their community, their friends, and even him? That lingering question hung in the air, a hint of excitement wrapped in uncertainty. Could this be the beginning of something extraordinary, or just a simple lesson in resilience? The following day dawned bright and hopeful. Jake felt an electric anticipation humming in the air as he sat with Lily at breakfast. They were a team now, united in their quest for a better school community. I can't believe Mr. Anderson actually wants a proposal. Lily exclaimed, her smile wide as she flipped through her notebook, pages filled with sketches and ideas. This is your chance, Dad. His stomach twisted at the thought. Yeah, I guess it is. But it's really your proposal, sweetheart. You're the heart of this project. Together, she declared, her voice ringing with certainty. Let us make our voices heard. At school, Jake watched as Lily and her friends transformed into passionate advocates. They worked tirelessly, gathering opinions from classmates and enlisting faculty support. Each child's excitement breathed new life into the budding Kindness Club. Posters covered the walls, glittering with messages of hope and compassion, but, as they rehearsed their proposal in the art room, Jake noticed shadows looming over their spirited discussions. Some kids were skeptical. Whispered doubts crept into the crowd, and that familiar heartache twisted inside him again. What if people don't care? Lily caught his troubled expression. Dad, look around. We're making connections. Even if some don't believe in us, we'll have each other. Jake marveled at how fiercely she believed. Her resolve ignited a fire within him, one he hadn't felt in years. As he helped her shape their final proposal, he realized he was learning something vital, the power of community and courage that lived in youthful hearts. Submissions rolled in from other kids who wanted their voices included. They formulated policies on kindness, ideas for school events, and even an implementation plan. Every evening, they gathered around the table, brainstorming under the glow of the kitchen light. Laughter spilled over the dining room like warm syrup, and the air was thick with creativity. On presentation day, Jake felt the weight of anticipation resting heavily on his chest. The auditorium was packed with students, parents, and teachers. Each empty seat felt like a challenge. He sat beside Lily, who clutched the stack of proposals, eyes sparkling with determination. She whispered, "Are you ready?" "More than ever," he replied, trying to mirror her enthusiasm despite the nervous knots in his stomach. When it was their turn, Lily bolted to the front. The moment she started speaking, her voice cut through the noise like a song. I believe kindness can change everything. If we work together, we can build a community where everyone feels valued. The crowd shifted, some nodding along. A few faces looked skeptical, but the momentum was building. Jake felt pride swell as he watched the kids rallying behind her, but just as they reached the heart of their proposal, a voice interrupted from the back, a parent challenging their initiative. What makes you think you can change things? Aren't these just kids' dreams? Jake felt his stomach drop. He could see doubt creeping back into Lily's eyes, a flicker of fear battling the fire inside her. Jake stepped forward, voice steadying him. Kindness isn't just a dream. It's a commitment we all share, adults and kids alike. Do we want to teach them that their ideas don't matter? The tension in the room thickened, hanging heavy like fog. Would they be heard, or would the fear of rejection snuff out their fire? Lily squared her shoulders, meeting her dad's gaze, and something sparkled in her eyes. It was an unwavering belief. But the challenge had been thrown down, and the outcome felt uncertain. As discussions unfolded, a new question began to brew inside Jake. What if addressing outright skepticism revealed something deeper about the community, about them as a family? Would facing this crossroads lead to understanding, healing, and perhaps a future brighter than they had imagined? The clock ticked loudly in the silence that followed. Only time would reveal the truth of their collective fight for kindness, and Jake felt his heart pounding in anticipation of the reveal. Lily took a deep breath, her small frame seeming to absorb the weight of the auditorium's silence. We can be more than just students, she said, her voice gaining momentum. We can be the difference. Kindness is a choice we make every day. Isn't it worth choosing? There was a shift in the room. Heads turned, and murmurs of agreement bubbled among some corners of the audience, but the challenge still loomed large. Jake could feel the energy of the crowd churning, like a storm just waiting for a spark. A parent from the back stood, arms crossed defiantly. But it's just talk. Can you really change people's attitudes? That question hung in the air, sharp and challenging. Jake's heart raced. Was this how it felt to stand on the edge of bravery and fear at the same time? He glanced at Lily, who was now staring at the audience with fire in her eyes. Of course it's just talk, she said, her confidence unfurling like a flag in the wind. It's the first step. Every great change starts with a conversation, doesn't it? And right now, we're starting ours. Jake's heart soared as he realized the power in her words. His daughter was right. They weren't just presenting, they were starting a movement. The audience quieted again. It was a mix of uncertainty and curiosity. The students leaned closer, and Jake could see their wide-eyed wonder. They were ready to listen. Another voice, this time a student, chimed in, "My little brother gets bullied at school. It hurts him, and it hurts me. If this is true, we need to try." More voices joined in, kids sharing their own stories of kindness lost in dreams for a nurturing environment. It was a wave of vulnerability, crashing against the shore of skepticism. Jake could feel tears pricking at the corners of his eyes as he watched compassion ripple through the crowd and ignite discussions among kids and parents alike. But then, the tension returned as the challenging parent spoke again. "This is nice, but how will you do it? It sounds great, but what if you fail?" Lily took a step forward, undeterred. "What if we succeed?" She countered, her voice steady. "If we can change just one person's day with kindness, isn't that worth it? Failure is just a step towards trying again. I will keep fighting for this because it matters." Her words hung in the air like a promise. Jake felt a swell of pride, warmth flooding his chest. With a surge of energy in the room, many began to cheer. They clapped, and the collective sound felt like an unstoppable tide. Jake looked around, overwhelmed. Parents who were quiet before now shared nods of encouragement. Kids who once stood apart began to unite in a common goal. This is the heart of it, Jake thought. They are finding their voices, and together, their voices could create change. But as he basked in that moment, something unexpected happened. Lily's expression shifted. The fire in her eyes dimmed slightly, replaced by something deeper, fearful uncertainty. She whispered, "What if they don't mean it, Dad? What if this doesn't go as we hope?" The question struck Jake like a cold wind. Could everything spiral out of control? Doubt snuck back in like an unwelcome guest. Their dreams felt fragile. The auditorium buzzed with discussions, and while hope fluttered around them, uncertainty loomed large. Would their voices be heard? Would the tide of change they so desired come crashing in, or would the walls of skepticism hold strong? Jake took a deep breath, squeezing Lily's hand. This was just the beginning. They needed to push forward, to fight harder, but he couldn't ignore the nagging voice in his head. What truths lay hidden within the shadows of their hopes? The clock ticked on, and the weight of possibility pressed down on them. How far would they go to see their vision realized, and what would it take for them to trust in the goodness that still lay ahead? As he watched Lily fix her gaze on the crowd, Jake knew this battle was just getting started. But the question lingered: what would be revealed next in their quest for kindness? Jake settled in his chair, a storm of thoughts swirling in his mind. He felt a keen sense of anxiety mixed with a rising hope. Lily had spoken beautifully, igniting something in the audience, but doubt threaded through his heart. What if all of this initiative, this desire for change fizzled out like a candle flickering against the wind? Dad? Lily's voice broke through his chain of thoughts. What if we don't get the support we need? What if we do? Jake replied, squeezing her hand to reassure her. It starts with believing in ourselves and our message. Remember, kindness can spark unexpected ripples. Lily nodded, determination shining in her eyes once more. She was right. Whether they succeeded or faced setbacks, each moment spent advocating for kindness mattered. The auditorium buzzed with conversations. Parents whispered back and forth while kids engaged in lively discussions sparked by Lily's heartfelt plea. Suddenly, a girl named Emma raised her hand, standing to address the room. Maybe we can have a day dedicated to kindness, like a kindness day. Everyone can share how they extended empathy or inclusion to someone else. The crowd perked up, nodding in agreement. It was a beautiful idea, a way to turn abstract conversations into tangible actions. Jake felt a wave of pride surge through him as he watched the community begin to coalesce around something bigger than any one person. Spurred by Emma's bravery, another student stood. We could invite parents to share stories about how they've been a part of acts of kindness too. They could show us they believe in this just as much. Jake glanced at Lily, who was practically bouncing on her toes. She caught his gaze, and they exchanged a smile. This was what they needed to build a bridge that connected their community, where every voice mattered. With the energy in the room reaching an exhilarating peak, Jake decided to take the plunge and rallied the audience. What if we create a living project together? He suggested. A kindness wall where everyone can share their stories and messages, and it will grow as we do. The crowd erupted into ecstatic applause. Kids shouted out ideas for the wall, each suggestion fueled by a sense of ownership and commitment. Yes. This was it. They weren't just dreamers, they were doers. Just as Jake thought things were gaining undeniable momentum, the challenging parent spoke again. But how do we ensure these stories are real? What if people just write things for show? Jake took a deep breath, standing taller, bolstered by the support of the kids around him. Change isn't easy, and yes, there will always be skepticism. But we have to believe in one another and hold each other accountable. We can form teams to ensure every story is genuine and meaningful. The room filled with murmurs of agreement, the tide shifting yet again in their favor. Friendship, connection, and accountability were emerging as pillars of their initiative, each building coalescing into a foundation of trust. And let us celebrate. Lily added. After a few weeks, we can hold an event to recognize the stories shared on the wall. A Kindness Day celebration. We can have art projects, performances, everything. Yes. A celebration. Voices echoed in the auditorium, with her infectious excitement fueling the collective energy. Jake saw the community rallying toward a brighter future. Each echo of agreement chipped away at the unease that had clung to his heart like a shadow. They were all coming together, ready to entwine their dreams and aspirations. After the meeting concluded, excitement rippled through the hallway as students stepped into the buzz of fresh possibilities. As they left the auditorium, parents reached out to pat Jake on the shoulder, expressing gratitude and support. Jake felt a strength burgeoning within him, a realization that this wasn't just about Lily or him but for every child in their community. When he and Lily stepped outside, the sun was setting, casting a peachy glow across the sky. "I can't believe how far we've come," she burst out, beaming. "I can, Jake," replied softly, pride swelling in his chest. "You've led this charge, Lily. You've shown everyone what kindness looks like in action, and you inspired all of us to do the same." In that moment, as they stood side by side, Jake understood that the path ahead would undoubtedly hold challenges. But with every bold step they took together, they were forming connections deeper than he ever imagined, teaching a community to care and include, and in their hearts, they both knew, this was just the beginning. As night fell, Jake tucked Lily into bed, his heart brimming with love. They had transformed the fear of the unknown into a shared mission of hope. Now, as he whispered goodnight, Jake knew they were navigating towards something beautiful, a transformation that would ripple through their community, one kind act at a time. In the silence of the night, Jake made a promise to himself: they would face the coming battles together. No matter the outcome, they would be unwavering voices for change. And in that moment, joy wrapped around him like a warm hug, knowing they were on the path toward emboldening countless hearts and spreading compassion stories interwoven with their own. The future didn't seem so daunting anymore. Together, they were ready to tackle it head-on, continuing the mission for kindness, one small spark at a time. So here's the thing, folks, kindness is a choice, and it starts with you. If you resonated with this journey, don't forget to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now, your support literally feeds the algorithm. Comment down below with your thoughts and feelings about this powerful ending. I want to hear your voice. And share this video right now with at least 5 friends who need to see this incredible transformation. You need to show your support in this moment. Don't wait not even one more second. Thank you, true fans. You make all of this possible.